UFC 309 was another complete hot mess. Not even Donald Trump, Kid Rock, Elon Musk could save this complete disaster. Going into this event, I actually was kind of hyped. Now, we did have the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson thing the night before. That was a complete circus, very underwhelming ending. Not shocking, but underwhelming. And now this event, UFC 309, where you have a John Jones versus a Stipe Miocic in his 40s, way past his prime. Well, we got the outcome that a lot of people thought was going to happen. I thought Miocic would have lasted and gone the distance, but they went a couple of rounds in, and Stipe got destroyed. A lot of people were criticizing me because they were saying, Mystic Moss, it wasn't a liver shot. And I thought in real time it was, but it was on the wrong side. Not a liver shot, but a fantastic spinning back kick to the body, put down Stipe Miocic, and it truly was a thing of beauty. The sound of the crack. Listen again. There is no need for a man that's 42 years of age to experience a devastating finish like that, especially a guy like Stipe Miocic, where he has a legendary past, he hasn't won a fight in forever, and they slide him into the main event because they felt that he deserved this opportunity. No, that's not the case. He didn't deserve this opportunity. He was used for John Jones's benefit. He was used to put people in the seats. He was used to sell pay-per-views. Stipe Miocic was completely used and abused. This guy not only got viciously knocked out, but afterwards, they interview him. He's mumbling on the mic. I got a short about it.
Was anything surprising?
Terrible first round. Domestic violence. Fires. My wife. Tits. My last fight. I retire.
Coming into this fight, what was the game plan, and what, if anything, did you not expect?
I expect everything. I don't know to do. I do spaghetti and meatballs, eggplant, parmesan. I'm having a fettuccine alfredo.
Everyone's getting triggered. Guys, it's a joke. It's a freaking joke, for God's sakes. I like Stipe. Loosen up. The craziest part about Stipe Miocic and 309 was the post-fight interview. After they interviewed him, there was no montage. There was no celebration. There was no dramatic shot of the gloves on the mat. There was just a mumbling mess. See you later. A complete ball drop by the UFC. You mean to tell me we're going to have a celebration for Carla Esparza, who, listen, did some very interesting things in her career, a champion, and you're not going to do something for arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time? This just goes to show you when Stipe Miocic denied Dana White putting the belt around the waist, this was revenge. They wanted Stipe Miocic to look like a complete idiot, and they wanted this guy to be the GOAT. Now, I will say this, John Jones is a phenomenal athlete and is the GOAT. Regardless of the picograms and all the stuff he's done outside of the cage, you can't deny this man's skill set. This guy has been very entertaining throughout his career. A young champion and now pushing 40, John Jones is still doing it in spectacular fashion. But it's a fabricated thing by the UFC. There's no coincidence that you have these two from the WWE in the stands for this event. The UFC is the WWE. It's a show. That's what it is. I mean, yes, we get some vicious fights. We have some entertaining moments, and I was entertained. But in hindsight, looking back, it's not worth the price of admission. It's not worth a pay-per-view. You saw what Paul and Tyson did. It should be on a Netflix. It should be on a streaming platform. There is no reason to charge $80 for this. This is garbage. It's hot garbage. That's what it is. UFC 309 was at Madison Square Garden, and it was a mess. Not even Donald Trump could save this card. It could distract you. It could make an exciting moment. It could create a massive USA chant. We had a big moment in our chat when we had 300,000 people watching us. Listen, let's get the USA flags in the chat. Let's do it.
Daddy's back to clean up the mess, guys.
Let's get them in the chat, baby. Come on, USA! USA! Let's go! We're here, baby! Where are we at? Be proud! Be proud, Shaq. Be proud! Let's go. Let's just be proud, baby. Let's go. And God, they have a big 45 and 47 on the screen in Madison Square Garden. This is nuts. Dana White's got a shit-eating grin on his face.
He knows what he's doing.
Oh my God, dude, this is nuts. And I had a blast watching it. But here's what really happened. Before the pay-per-view got started, they rolled out Donald Trump. Everyone was going absolutely nuts because they want you to pay the $80 to buy this event. A main card that looked like this. Now listen, there are a couple of things that are decent on this card and on paper seem like a good time. But if you scroll through the preliminaries, look at this hot garbage that was UFC 309. The first fight opened up with a snoozer with Veronica Hardy versus Mora. There was just a stalemate over there, a unanimous decision win for Brazil. Hafez versus Elliott was a good one. I was pretty entertained by this one, and Elliott finishes in the third round by knockout. Now, this one on paper seemed good, and it delivered. Mickey Gall doesn't even belong in the UFC, and I got duped too because Mickey Gall was the favorite in this thing, and for some reason, I picked him. I don't even know why. It was the dumbest pick ever. Brahimaj exposed him and finished him. Another mistake I made here is believing in the hype of Denise, but Marcin Tybura gets a great finish, a doctor stoppage over a big, scary Brazilian guy. So listen, the early prelims actually started off pretty good. Finish, not bad. You had a guy in Romero that didn't belong in the cage with Onama, although he did make it very interesting in that first round. Jim Miller solidifying himself as a great blue-collar fighter who goes in there and scraps, has a bunch of records, and never won a belt. Chris Weidman gets yanked off the card, and that's kind of a bummer. I would like to see him fight in MSG, but listen, his best days are way behind him. Martinez versus McGee was entertaining, but I got to be honest with you, it wasn't what I expected it to be. And shout out to Martinez turning it up in the third round, making it a little bit interesting, but McGee gets the win there. Listen, this was a solid fight night. Now check out this abortion of a main card. Listen, credit to Luntop. He actually made it interesting. A guy coming in on short notice against this Conor McGregor Brazilian wannabe, who I actually really like. And by the way, keep an eye out for Mauricio Ruffy because this is a very interesting prospect. Fighting nerds, need I say more? But here we go. Decision. Bo Nickel could eat a dick. He could possibly be one of the most annoying fighters that the UFC has ever put in front of us. And on Saturday night, the performance was shit. And then when he gets on the mic, he becomes even more unlikable. The boos are going crazy. Boo Nickel is what we're going to call him because this guy, I cannot root for. I can't wait to see the day where Hamzat smashes his face inside out, but I don't even know if he's going to get to that point. Charles Oliveira did what I thought he was going to do. He was going to beat Michael Chandler once again. And Michael Chandler is a guy that's always exciting when he gets in there. That fifth round was hilarious where he was slamming Charles Oliveira backwards. It was great to watch. It was fun, but let's be serious here. It was a lopsided disaster that got sort of interesting at the very, very end. And Charles Oliveira gets his hand raised. Michael Chandler is a novelty fighter, and that is what it is. And then you got John Jones beating up a senior citizen, kind of like how Jake Paul beat up Mike Tyson. Jake Paul had mercy on Mike, whereas John Jones says, nah, I'm not that type of guy. I'm going to finish this man. And credit to John for doing that because even an old Stipe Miocic is still dangerous, and he kept walking forward and taking a beating. That first round was horrific to watch as a fan of Stipe Miocic. That was probably so brutal for you to endure because Stipe was getting absolutely destroyed in that first round, and somehow Stipe was able to weather the storm and get to a round number 3. But let's be serious. There are some bright spots on this card, but it is not worth $80. Basically, what they were saying is, hey, pay $80 to see the greatest fighter of all time compete against a washed-up former heavyweight GOAT. At the end of the day, this card feels like a giant nothing burger, and the Trump thing was kind of fun. And the chat was pretty lit up the night of. But listen, when we're doing Fight Buddies, we are here to entertain. John Jones wins. He does his little dance. He thanks Jesus. And then he jumps over the cage and gives the Don his belt. They give each other the predator grip. Look at that. 2 men embracing. 2 felons having a moment. Listen, I voted for Trump, but hey, man, I had to make that joke. There's the real heavyweight champion getting drunk in the crowd. You get what I'm saying here. UFC 309 was just this big show, but it wasn't really what it was supposed to be. It was at Madison Square Garden, and that event wasn't what the fans really wanted. They wanted Jones versus Aspinall. Some people are yelling Jones versus Pereira, and Dana White is squashing that, but who knows? Money talks, right? Lackluster is what UFC 309 was. Jon Jones, on the other hand, I do enjoy watching him fight. Whatever you want to say about the guy outside of the cage, he deserves it. But as an athlete, Jon Jones is like easily one of the greatest to ever step foot inside an octagon. There's really no denying that. And I got to be honest with you, I'm starting to like Jon Jones. I don't know why. Even though he's ducking, and even though in the interviews he says like all this God stuff that I just don't buy, and all the other nonsense that he spews, the sensitivity is ridiculous as well with Jon Jones. I have my criticisms, but I do enjoy watching the guy compete. And I would love to see Jon Jones fight Tom Aspinall. So hopefully they give him the bag of money that he wants, and we get to see the real unification of the heavyweight belts. So at the end of the day, my score for UFC 309 is a 4.9 out of 10.
Hey, subscribe to the MMA-Holes. I'm gonna crack my voice at this let that light. Crack my voice, get slap that like. Crack my voice, then slap that like. Subscribe to the MMA-Holes. Hey, I don't want to talk about Tom Aspinall. If you ask again, I'm gonna slap you like I slap my wife. Quack, 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 quack. I'm gonna slap my wife, then slap that like. Slap that light, slap that light, slap that light like I crack my wife. Slap that light, slap that light, slap that light like I crack my wife. Subscribe to the MMA-Holes. Quack, 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 quack. I'm Jon Jones. Jon Jones, quack, quack.